What's up, guys? You've tuned into the Kicked Beehive. My name's Mikey B. Merry Christmas, everyone. Happy holidays. Yeah, we're bringing you something a bit special. Something that should definitely suit the season. It's Dark Souls. That's right, it's Dark Souls. Dark Souls Remastered, actually, as it happens. Yeah, very, very special game for me, this. A lot of memories tied into this from a particularly happy time of my life, actually, to be fair. Let's just get into it. You don't need to know all that. Let's just get into it. Okay, this is new. Controls. Let's just double check something. Yep, that's fine. Okay, so here's the character creation screen. Rather obligatory now in any role-playing game of any kind. Most of what you do here is cosmetic aesthetic, but there are certain things that you do need to be made aware of. First of all, let's just name our child. What shall we call them? Yeah, that'll do. That makes absolutely no difference. Gender. Class, on the other hand, does make some difference. It's not the end of the world if you pick the wrong one. You can very easily level up, change your stats, and make the character that you actually want if you feel that you've made a mistake. But let's take a look at the classes just in case you don't want to have to do that. You want to start off with the best possible for your style, I suppose. Let's take a look. There are some things to be said for them. First of all, starting off, let's take a look at the warrior. Warrior is one of the few classes in the game where you basically don't have to do anything. The armor itself is okay. It offers a decent defense. It allows you to actually dodge roll as well, really rather quickly. The only downside to it is it doesn't have anything in the way of poise. Poise is a very useful stat. It means if you're trying to take a swing at somebody, or if you're trying to run away from somebody, if you get hit, you can be interrupted. Your action can be interrupted. Now, if you've got poise, depending on the attack that you've received, if you've got poise, you can just shake it off. You can bounce it off and you can carry on doing what you're doing. The warrior doesn't have any of that. What it does have instead, though, is this heater shield. This is the most lightweight, 100% physical block shield. It's really, really useful because obviously it's very lightweight. If you are trying to practice your parries but don't feel like dying, this will block every single physical attack that comes near it. The only downside is, you can't block for very long before you're going to have to run off, let your stamina grow, and then try it again. But yeah, you could use this heater shield throughout the entire game. It's perfectly fine. This sword as well, the long sword, super versatile weapon. You'll probably never ever need to change it. You'll just need to level it up. Pardon me. You just need to level it up, upgrade it with the smithing items. But yeah, you could basically roll this character throughout the entire game. He's not the best when it comes to magic attacks, but yeah, you wouldn't expect that if he was picking a warrior. I'm sure you wouldn't pick a warrior to use magic attacks, so yeah. That being said as well, this fella, the knight, again, very, very similar to the warrior in the fact that you can use all of this equipment right up to the end of the game. His equipment is a little bit heavier, but it does have poise. Okay, so this guy can actually get hit and he won't be interrupted at all. His shield is a little bit heavier as well, meaning it can take more hits before you have to dodge roll out the way or whatever. And the sword that he carries is a broadsword. Arguably, that's better than the longsword because I believe it's slightly more powerful, if I'm remembering correctly. But either way, whichever weapon you choose to use, yeah, you'll be fine. The only real downside with the knight is when you start playing as him, his armor is very, very heavy. He's got heavier equipment, so his dodge roll is basically non-existent. So yeah, if you're planning on not leveling up any characters or anything like that, the warrior's probably better than the knight. But if you are going to play this game as a regular human being, the knight, in my opinion, better than the warrior. He's even slightly better with spells as well. Only a little bit, but you can do them. Now, the opposite can be said for the wanderer. This is not a character that I would recommend for starting the game. Certainly not. He's got a nice outfit, and that's that. Really, the shield that he has is pathetic. You'll definitely be swapping that straight away as soon as you can. And the scimitar, in order to get the most out of that, you do need to know some of the more advanced dynamics of the game. It even nerfs you a little bit because most weapons will allow you to do like a front kick if somebody's blocking against you. You know, they've got the shield up, you want to get past it, you can kick them. That kicks the shield out of the way and you can go for broke. With the scimitar, however, it removes that option and you do like a cartwheel, a backwards cartwheel to get out of danger. So yeah, totally different playstyle for the Wanderer. I wouldn't recommend for a novice player, but if you think that you can make the most of it, go ahead. It looks very cool, it's very stylish. Thief. Very... I'd say it's better than the Wanderer, absolutely. Both novice and experienced players can start off as a thief very, very easily. Stat-wise, I know that the armour is better than the Wanderer's. The shield that he has, although it's not 100% damage reduction, it's one of the better parry shields. Okay, so you can learn to use it properly if you're willing to take a couple of risks. But this is what I like about the bandit, the thief, sorry, not the bandit, is he has a knife called the bandit knife. It's very, very powerful. It's got high critical hits. So when you parry somebody or you backstab them, it does much, much more damage. And not only that as well, if you're unable to do that, the bandit knife also has bleed damage attached to it as well as one of its abilities. So you can very rapidly build up the bleed damage bar, boom, your enemy will bleed to death. So it's very, very good for Thief. You could potentially use that throughout the entire game, just because you've got that bleed, you know, that quick bleed build up. An additional thing as well, when you start as a thief, you automatically obtain a master key. Now the master key is something very, very useful. We're going to talk about that in a little bit, but essentially if you start off as a thief, you can have a master key and a second gift from the next menu. Okay, so it's very tempting to get the thief. I'm not going to get it in this playthrough because it's not my style, but it is very tempting. Now the bandit, just take one look at the bandit and tell me what you think this guy's good for. Yeah, he's basically a berserker type. His armour is okay. It's not something that I would use personally, but it is okay. It's got no poise. You won't be needing poise, however. The axe absolutely wrecks. It's really, really good. Very, very powerful. He has a shield as well, which is 100% block, but it also has poison resistance as well. So you can two-hand the axe, you can one-hand the axe and parry with the shield and block with the shield. You can block against poison. And yeah, take a look at the stats. It's all endurance, it's all strength. You can even use a healing magic once you obtain one. But yeah, this is your Berserker type. Very, very nice. There's not really too much more to say about it. It's very, very simple playstyle. Now, next up we have the Hunter. The Hunter is probably my least favourite one out of the lot, really, to be fair. Yeah, there's not really too much to say. Like, the Hunter is basically a really weak warrior who happens to start the game with a bow. Yeah, the armour itself is... I've never used the armour in any playthrough I've ever done. The shield is not great, really, to be honest. If you're going to have a shield that isn't 100% block, at least make it good for parrying. This one isn't. The only thing that I would say is the short sword. Do not underestimate that weapon. It might be the most basic sword in the game, but they balanced it out by making it extremely versatile and easy to use. So there's that to say about him, but the bow, you'll probably never get a chance to use the bow. Yeah, not legitimately anyway. Not in this game. Not in Dark Souls 1 anyway. Now, this fella, the sorcerer, yeah, looking at him, he's a bit of a goof. A bit of a goofball. Silly looking shield, it's good for parrying, but yeah, do you really want to be walking around with that? A little dagger there just to protect himself. But what makes a sorcerer really, really special is, you take a look at his stats, it's all attunement and it's all intelligence. Okay, if you just focus on those two stats whilst you're going through the game, you are going to have so many magic spells at your disposal, and they're going to be so powerful, you are just going to wreck house. Okay, absolutely 100%. Bosses, they're going to go down without too much of an issue. When you're trying to get to the boss through the level, as long as you don't miss your shot, you'll be fine. You'll be absolutely fine. A very, very powerful glass cannon type. Okay, so don't discredit him just because he's a bit silly looking. You can always change his clothes. Next up, Pyromancer. Yeah, when you first look at this guy, he definitely looks like something very hot. That hot thing being garbage. But there's hidden things about this guy. Hidden things. First of all, that shield, although it's cracked and wrecked and looks rubbish, it's very, very good at blocking magic spells, magic attacks. Okay, you don't get that very often in this game at all. So don't discredit that shield. It is good for something. The axe, very versatile. You'll probably upgrade it to a battle axe once you get a chance. But yeah, you can do a lot of damage with the hand axe. Not only that as well, this character does start with a fire spell. And now, almost every enemy in the game is weak against fire. Okay, there are a few exceptions, obviously. But yeah, almost every enemy in the game is weak against fire. That spell, although you can upgrade it later on, just having it early on is a massive, massive boon. He also starts off at level 1, so it's the lowest level character in the game. So if you decide to pick the Pyromancer and you think, this isn't for me, very, very easy to change your stats. So yeah, I like Pyromancer. If you can get through the hot garbage look, there you go. He's a very, very good one. Now, my favourite is coming up now. This guy, the cleric, this is my main. This is the one that I use basically all the time. I love the cleric. It's level 2. But yeah, I like this guy. Although his shield isn't the best, it's really, really not. That mace absolutely makes up for it. Absolutely. You swing that thing, you hit somebody, whether they're blocking, whether they're trying to attack you, whether they're trying to run off, you've got to interrupt them. Okay, so it's really, really good for poise damage. Okay, not only that as well, although his armor, his clothes are just clothes, there's nothing too special about them. This character is good for dodging. Okay, so you can get a lot of backstabs or back attacks with a mace. So yeah, I like this character an awful lot. Not only that as well, he starts off with a healing spell, which means that you can basically use this guy in a very similar style to the bandit, but unlike the bandit, the cleric won't die. So yeah, for me, it's cleric. Now we've got one final style, which is overlooked an awful lot, but here we go. It's the deprived. Yeah. Take a look at that guy. Yeah, he fears nothing. He fears nothing. What can you actually say about a man who has a club, plank shield, and no clothes, other than he's got wood? He's actually very good, actually, to be honest. Stats-wise, it's even across the board. Okay, so you can build your character however you want. No weaknesses, to be fair. The club is very, very powerful when you two-hand it, because it's strength-based, it's a strength weapon. And the plank shield, although is pathetic in everything, you can still parry with it. So parry plus club equals dead. And yeah, and he's got no armor whatsoever, so he's good for dodging. And he's good for roleplay as well, I suppose. Not like that. I know what you're thinking. But we're going with cleric. Okay, so next up, gifts. Let's have a quick chat about gifts. They're not essential. They are just a little trinket to help you get through certain parts of the game. But some of them are definitely better than others. Okay, so just be careful. Point in case, this. Goddess Blessing. Divine Holy Water fully restores HP and status. You get one of these. Okay, so it's a one-off item. Okay, it's a disposable item as well, a consumable item. And the only place that I can think where you'd ever really need to use this, okay, you'd have no other option to use it, would be fighting, one of the first bosses in the game. Okay, because you don't have any other healing items. Okay, you'd have to rely on this if you mess it up. But if you're going to use a Goddess Blessing to destroy this boss, why not use the black fire bombs? And I get a couple of these. And yeah, very, very powerful. Obviously you throw them, so there's a bit of range to them as well. If you use that on the same boss as you would say use the Goddess Blessing, you just finish the boss straight away. There's no contest. Yeah, that first boss, I've spilled the beans now, so whatever. That first boss, you get to fight him twice. If you can beat him in the first try, not only will you unlock whatever it is that you need to unlock, he'll also drop his weapon as well, which is a massive strength-based club. Okay, really, really powerful, something for you to build your character towards, absolutely. So yeah, if you want that club, get the black fire bombs. Anywhere else in the game, they're just a regular disposable item. That's where they're the most useful. And now, speaking of most useful, we have another item here. This particular version is very rare. It's called the Twin Humanities. Okay, this particular version of it, like I said, is very rare. You'll not get many of them throughout the game. But the normal version, the normal regular humanity, is a very easily farmable item. So I would just give this one a swerve. Unless you're desperately trying to, I don't know, increase your luck drop in the first part of the game. Yeah, I'd give it a swerve. Swerve these as well, binoculars, used to peer at faraway sights. Okay, fine. What use is that? Not much use at all. Not only that as well, although they do have a bit of a secret use if you're the sorcerer. If you target your enemy, if you get him in the centre of the screen with the binoculars, you can cast a spell and sort of turn your sorcerer into a sniper. There's no point in doing any of that at all before you actually get the binoculars in-game properly. So give the binoculars a swerve. You're not going to gain anything from it. Pendant, trinket with no effect, but fond memories comfort travellers. It is said that the pendant has no purpose. It's a joke item, sorry. You can actually trade it to one of the characters in the game to get a farmable item, but it's really more for roleplay. It's a joke item. It doesn't really do anything useful. Okay, now Master Key. For most people, the Master Key is the god tier gift. Okay, what this thing does is it unlocks basically any normal door, which means that before you can even go and do any of the story missions. Would missions be the right word? I don't know. Before you do any of the story actions, yeah, that'll do. You can go on a treasure hunt. You can get a lot of powerful items if you're good enough. Okay. Now, for me, the only reason I don't pick Master Key is because there's a way to do all of that without it. You just have to go to a certain part at the beginning of the game, basically speedrun your way through it to basically the end, and once you've done that, you will gain access to basically everything that you can get with the Master Key. So there's not really much point, in my opinion. But yeah, if you want to avoid doing all that hassle, get it. It's very, very good. Tiny Beings Ring. This increases your HP. If you want to have more health, get the Tiny Beings Ring. Okay, you can use it forever. It's a actual genuine ring that you can get in the game. So again, this is very, very powerful. It's not a single-use item, so go for it if you want it. Me personally, I prefer this one, the Old Witch's Ring. Gift from a witch, ancient ring with no obvious effect. I happen to know what that effect is. It does actually have one. It's rather quaint. It doesn't serve any real purpose in game other than what it does. I'm not going to spoil that for you. But in order to get it, you've got to sacrifice other items, and I'm not really about doing that. I like getting the Old Witch's Ring just because every other item in the game there, in the gifts, you can get anyway with little to no hassle. So I'm going to get it now. Physique makes absolutely no difference whatsoever, so yeah, I tend to go for large upper body because it suits my character a little bit better. Face, you'll barely ever see it. You've got your Commoner, Delta Farmer, Astora Noble, Dragon Scholar, Thorland Cleric, Jubilant Katarina, Dubious Karim, rather dubious, Classic Xena, Eerie Great Swamp. Great Swamp Heretics face prejudice for their atypical looks. Atypical looks, okay. And the Far East Traveller, which is very, very suspiciously looking like Ryan Reynolds, in my opinion. I'm going to go with Cleric, just because my character is a Cleric. Hairdos, yeah, as you know, hairdos bobbed, curly, semi-long, centre parted, curly centre parted, ponytail, swept back, short and receding. I happen to like the receding look, to be honest. It doesn't actually look like it's receding. He's just got the old widow's peak there, so we'll take that. Various different colours as well, which you can customise. We're going to go with silver. We can get deep blue, dark purple for some reason, rare colour of a near extinct race, and red. We're going with silver. Now, yes, you can go a little bit deeper into customization if you wanted. I'm sure you've already seen some videos online, a couple of troll-like characters. We're not doing that. We're just going to make our guy a little bit older looking. That's all. Right. It's a bit sickly, actually. Oh, whatever. He's undead. Whatever. He's not going to look great. Let's go. Alright, let's see what this is all about.
In the age of ancients, the world was unformed, shrouded by fog. A land of grey crags, arch trees, and everlasting dragons. But then there was fire. And with fire came disparity. Heat and cold, life and death, and of course, light and dark. Then from the dark they came and found the souls of lords within the flame. Nito, the first of the dead. The Witch of Izalith and her daughters of Chaos. Gwyn, the Lord of Sunlight, and his faithful knights. And the furtive pygmy, so easily forgotten. With the strength of lords, they challenged the dragons. Gwyn's mighty bolts peeled apart their stone skins. The witches weaved great firestorms. Nito unleashed a miasma of death and disease. And Seath the Scaleless betrayed his own, and the dragons were no more. Thus began the Age of Fire. But soon the flames will fade, and only dark will remain. Even now, there are only embers. And man sees not light, but only endless nights. And amongst the living are seen carriers of the accursed dark side. Yes, indeed. The dark sign brands the undead. And in this land, the undead are corralled and led to the north.
The undead are corralled.
Locked away to await the end of the world.
And pushed north.
This is your fate.
Looking a bit worse for wear there. Is it feeding time already? Why have they always got to stick the glowing stuff up the bum? Right. Pillage that corpse. Right, okay, so you probably noticed, just like me, he's not looking very well. Certainly not. But it's okay. He's supposed to look like that. That's right, absolutely. Okay, so this is the game's tutorial area. Not really too much going on. Blech! So you do start the game with basically a prison shiv, I suppose. That's the best way to call it. It's the most advanced prison shiv you'll ever see, but I suppose when there's no more guards, because everything is just decayed around you, you've been there that long. I suppose it'll do. That's basically what's left of the authorities in this asylum, which, yeah, not great. No wonder you want to leave. Okay, now I could kill this guy. It makes no difference. I'm just going to run past him. There's a ghost right there, right in front of me. And that's another character. This person is literally just here. Just vibing away. Okay, now you'll notice as well on the left, you can see I've got a heal, but I have no way to actually use that, no talisman or anything. So it's just there waiting for me to pick it up. Not only that as well, this is the game's famous checkpoint, the bonfire. You'll get loads of these all over the game. And yeah, when you rest at one, not only do you get a chance to level up, to fill up your healing items and things of that nature, it'll create a checkpoint, so if you die, you'll respawn back at that bonfire. But every other enemy in the game will also respawn as well. Okay, so yeah, just bear that in mind before you just use a bonfire for no reason. Okay, so yeah, let's go. Okay, big wide open area, nothing in there, nothing suspicious. Oh, what is that? Hello. Yeah, 3 guesses what's about to happen, guys. Here we go. Right, so first boss of the game, let's go. I can do 2 damage to it. Right. Okay, so yeah, this is what the Black Fire Bombs / Goddess Blessing would be best used for. But you can actually beat this guy with the Prison Shiv. It just takes a very, very long time, and you have to basically do a flawless run. I'm going to try and beat him, okay? But you don't have to worry about it. We'll speed up the proceedings in post. Oof. Some people say Dark Souls is hard. Don't really see it myself. Where on earth could they possibly get that impression from? That being said though, Dark Souls, especially Dark Souls 1, it's more difficult at the beginning than it is at the end. Yeah, absolutely, because you've got no health. Obviously, the weapons that you pick up are basic weapons. Basic armor. You're underleveled, everything is just wrong. Right, we're going to go, because I can't be bothered. There we go. Safe. But yeah, towards the as you get more and more through the game, the challenge doesn't really change so much. To be honest, if you ask me. Here we go. Health rejuvenated. Everything else is looking good. Unfortunately, we couldn't kill that monster. Yeah, it takes far too long. But we're going to get a second shot at it. Let's take a look. What have we just picked up? The East-West Shield. So there it starts. They're not the best. It's decorated with the ancient symbol of a double-headed eagle painted yellow. Wood shields are lighter than metal shields, but with lower physical damage reduction and reduced shield stability. So what that's doing here, I don't know, but thankfully it is here doing. So let's go. Yeah, you will run. Okay, the mace. Here we go. Okay, iron hammer with protrusive pommel. Standard weapon for clerics. This simple bladeless strike weapon is effective against most foes and can break the guard of a shield. However, one miss leaves one wide open. So don't miss. Okay, basically don't miss. Just hit them with it. Okay, that's all the mace wants you to do. Bam! Yeah, so as I was saying before I got distracted by the shield, I think that the game itself gets easier. Easier and easier and easier. A lot of games obviously... Hello? A lot of games obviously do it backwards. Well, I say backwards. Do it the right way. Starts off easy and then gets harder. Dark Souls does it differently. That, to me, is really, really good game design because you feel like you're accomplishing something. Whereas... Oh, let's come up here. Bam! You definitely do feel as if you're accomplishing something. As if you've actually beaten the game. And that's regardless of, you know, the type of weapon that you're using or style that you're using. Yeah, the difficulty level is consistent throughout the whole thing. So yeah. Now, hello. This is the guy that fed us earlier. Let's have a word.
You're no hollow. Thank goodness. I'm done for, I'm afraid. I'll die soon. then lose my sanity. I wish to ask something of you. You and I, we're both undead. Hear me out, will you?
If I must.
Regrettably, I have failed in my mission, but perhaps you can keep the torch lit. There is an old saying in my family: thou who art undead art chosen, and thine exodus from the undead asylum maketh pilgrimage to the land of ancient lords. When thou ringeth the bell of awakening, the fate of the undead thou shalt know. Well, now you know, and I can die with hope in my heart. Oh, one more thing. Here, take this. An Estus flask, an undead favorite.
Yummy.
Oh, and this. Now I must bid farewell. I would hate to harm you after death. So go now, and thank you.
That's all well and good, but why didn't you drink from your own Estus flask? You fool. Anyway, your family motto is too long!
Why?
You know why. Right, let's go. So, yeah, brief note. I wouldn't recommend doing that to every NPC that you meet, by the way. He would die anyway. It's part of the game that he actually dies. So I wouldn't be too bothered by it. But if you try attacking NPCs normally, you'll lose a lot more than you gain. So I wouldn't recommend doing that. Okay, down you go, sir. Now, this is the only character that I can think of. I say character, an enemy that I can think of where you'd want to use the twin humanities. The equipment that he has is very, very basic, but it does have poise damage. And if you have two humanities set up, instead of it saying 00 in the top left, it said 02, you'd have more chance of that guy dropping his equipment. But yeah, he's a common enemy, and you can get that equipment pretty easy early on. So, you know, bit of a waste. Right, here we go. Bam! Yeah, how'd you like me now, son? Ha ha ha! My plank of wood will save me! Oh yeah, and now I've got that talisman as well. I can use the heal spell. Smashed it. Right, so before we go any further, Canvas Talisman. Let's take a look at its lore. Medium for casting miracles of the gods. Canvas Talisman is for clerics on pilgrimage. Equip Talisman to cast miracles. Attune miracles from a scroll at a bonfire. Most miracles have limited number of uses. So yeah, not your basic talisman, actually, as it happens. It's slightly better. So yeah, that's the talisman. Right, Soul of Lost Undead. So it feels like he's, it seems like this place isn't the most secure in the world, but he must have been there a while. But there's obviously no getting out of here at all. Everything's all decayed. Oh, let me just show you something here. This is where you'll meet those crows where you can trade your items, but you can't do it yet. You have to complete the tutorial first. But yeah, there's no escaping from here, even though you have escaped. So they probably just locked the doors on the guy and just left him. So that's my 2 cents on that fella. So how do we get out of here then? Via cutscene.
In the ancient legends, it is stated that one day an undead shall be chosen. To leave the undead asylum in pilgrimage to the land of the ancient lords. Lordran.
Here it is. Boom. Okay, well, it's a good job I'm already dead. Okay. Right, ladies and gentlemen. Firelink Shrine. Okay, so this is the hub of the game. Simply put, we've come here. This is where we're going to be returning on multiple occasions. But this video, as much as I'd love to show you more, this video has gone on a long time. There's been a lot of talking and explaining things. So, yeah, what we're going to do, we're going to leave it here for now. But part 2 is coming very, very shortly. Okay, so yeah, if you like what you've seen, as always, please like, please subscribe, and leave a comment in the comments section. Okay, but until next time, have a lovely day.